Platchums!
So I was thinking maybe something that's missing from our channel is that personal connection. I think people don't know enough about us, me and you, Platchums.
We're the chums.
I think people are yearning. Yeah. I think people are yearning for more. And look, I was just thinking about your trophy list. Some serious games on there, and I think it'd be cool if we just had maybe a quick look through it. Look through your stats because you've been playing games now on or getting trophies since its inception. So there's some stories there. There's a lot of work gone into your account. So we might have a quick look at that if that's all right.
My account is yours to trudge over all you want, sir. I've worked hard enough for it, so it's nice when someone cares.
And I think immediately we can see that there. There's obviously you've got quite a few trophies. But I suppose maybe the thing that sets your account apart from a lot of other people's accounts is just the quality. You're certainly a man of quality over quantity, shall we say?
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for noticing.
So look, you're 439 at the minute with just over 7,000 trophies. So it's a lot. That's 12 years. So you're averaging 6, 7, 800 trophies a year. So
yeah, like I'm not prolific, to be fair. I mean, I've seen accounts where people get that in a month. So I've kind of had my ups and downs with it. But I think it's more a case of I'm just kind of selective with what I play and what I'm willing to spend money on. So I think this is just a side effect of that. So
yeah, it definitely shows. There's a quick glance through your list. It really does show. Every game on there is a real game. It's a game, a gamey game.
Yeah, I did play it, so it is a game.
Yeah. I think that just when we look at the account first, the first thing that springs to our attention is the ridiculous rarity of that of your rarest trophy at 0.1%. And this is on, of course, the PSN profiles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Fight Night. That's some trophy. Not only do you have to get to the World Championship once, but 3 times.
Yeah, that was a bit of a prick to get because that was I think the only time I've ever complained about a trophy list to like a game developer. So like I think this was around the time like I was always just a fan of boxing. Surprisingly, I know I look like such a fighter, but like I got that like 2009 when I wasn't too concerned about like finishing every game on my list. And then around 2011, I started to get like really into trophies, and I went back to Fight Night round 4, and I got like the biggest shock of my life because not only like Far Cry 2, which I put in my account 2008, I'm like, oh my god, I have 2 obscenely difficult platinums that I put on my account without like even caring. So I kind of started, sussing through the EA forums, and apparently it was like. It was probably easier to like infiltrate the mob than get to the people that held these belts, that they were like keeping the belts to themselves, and you had to defend it. I think it was like once or at least twice every 24 hours or 48 hours. There was something to it anyway. I was like trying to find out who the champions were, just say, look, please, I just want the trophy, like really like pathetic. And I remember the first belt I got, it was completely random. So after like a month of trying, all I'd do really would be like I'd load the game up and I'd be like, oh, maybe I'll bump it to the champion. I'd have 1 or 2 fights and I'd turn it off. So it was like maybe just playing once or twice a week. Like I wasn't demented with it. But I remember I stumbled on the light heavyweight champion, and it was like we had a proper fight, and it was like one of the best online experiences of my life. I got knocked down 4 times, and this guy was so much better than me, and I was just trying to like block and like the analog stick. I remember I got the gammiest punch of any fight. It was literally just like this little weak and just the champion got completely knocked out and he just couldn't get up, and I won the belt.
Nice.
And that's that belt.
His Achilles chin.
Exactly. It was just this little graze, and he was pummeling me. So, like, that belt gave me the key to the other belts. So, the middleweight champion wanted to fight me for the light heavyweight belt, and I said, only if you give me a shot at yours. And then I won that.
That's interesting. I didn't even think about the way that you could potentially leverage what you already had then once you had one.
That makes a lot of sense. In that game, once you get one, it becomes infinitely easier then to at least negotiate a fight. I may as well have a Don King beside me, he's the EA light heavyweight champion of the world. And then, like, the heavyweight.
Still a very, very impressive one. And it's your rarest trophy, which is impressive because it's, another thing that jumps out to me is, of course, you've got 215 ultra rares. And in a lot of ways, I would class an ultra rare as, even more impressive than a platinum. And actually, objectively, I think at the minute that's the case because getting an ultra rare is no easy feat these days. We're talking about under 5% on PSN profiles rather than the under 5% on the PSN across the board. So 215, like that's, I have, maybe like 1.5 kind of times the amount of trophies as you, but I have less ultra rares, which is, embarrassing for me, but very impressive for you, which is
I'll take that.
Is very cool, and I'm very jealous.
Oh, no, well, look, I'm jealous of your position in the Irish leaderboards, the only leaderboards that actually matter, the only legitimate leaderboards.
Yeah,
but
the only one, yeah. But 215 is very, very impressive, and it does speak to the quality of games that you play. Maybe we'll have a quick look. I can see already some really difficult ones. And another thing, of course, that's apparent on your list is your completion and the way that you even go for the DLC.
Yeah, I think that's a disease I've always had with games. Like, I explained it once on Platchums podcast, just that I've always kind of just tried to play games to their completion. That's just how I enjoy playing them, and trophies were just a natural kind of evolution of that. So, yeah.
I'd be similar, definitely.
So I can scroll down here and see what games I've actually played.
Yeah, so I can see Batman, of course. Batman Arkham Knight is a very impressive 100%. Arkham City too, because there's a lot of those challenges like the Catwoman and Robin challenges, which are very, very tricky.
Arkham Knight,
Bioshock with all the DLC.
Arkham Knight was just a different beast. Just a different beast.
Yes.
It was, it was just mental. Like, the amount of challenges and just, that took a lot of patience. And the last kind of flawless free flow trophy, or in the Iceberg Lounge, that was kind of like a few days of really purposeful playing to get those trophies like that. That was like the end game of the series.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that I have all of them, but I don't think I'd have it in me to go for it again. Just to be fair.
And if we scroll down a little bit here, there's some really interesting ones, that a lot of people wouldn't have played. Brutal Legend is a very very interesting one because it's a very good game. It's maybe a bit of a cult classic, but the platinum is really, really rare on that.
Yeah. It's more just that was, again, it's like the trifecta of awful things for trophy hunters. It's kind of like collectibles, kind of a longish story. I think you need to play it on the hardest difficulty and then online, and just the fact that it was like an RTS game, which was very surprising.
Yeah.
Like, I remember at the time, anyone that played the demo, it just seemed like a God of War Light. And for the initial section of that game, that seemed like what it would be, and it was great. But then it brings this kind of concert battling RTS system into play, and the game just makes a fundamental genre shift. There's no other way to describe it. But I really loved the game. I think Jack Black was stellar in it, of course, and the soundtrack was great. I wouldn't put it in like the echelon of greatest games ever made, but I have a soft spot for it. It was just a great, unique kind of quintessential kind of Tim Schafer type of game, like Psychonauts. Just if you love it, you really love it. And it was a difficult platinum, to be fair. Just a lot of different things to kind of juggle.
Yeah, I remember a lot of online on it. It was tricky. You can see Days Gone, of course. You know that you're in the middle of that following your unfortunate
following the incident.
Save issues.
Following the incident.
But yeah, that'll be cleared up very soon.
Yeah.
Of course, again, the 100% there makes that game completely different. The platinum is very, very easy, but the 100% is a different beast.
It's going to be kind of tricky, but I think, like, look, after Arkham Knight, I'm not too worried. I feel like it's just a case of the fact that, so many people have played it and it's free DLC. And I feel like the free DLC always kind of warps the numbers, because I think naturally if you pay for DLC, you're more likely to play it. So I think that there's an element of that. Yeah. And I'm like, how hard could it be? Like, I've got 1 bronze in it, and I got that I got like a bronze medal in the challenge mode just on my first go without like going in blind.
Yeah.
And I haven't even like progressed that far in the story yet, so I wouldn't say like I'm at my peak Days Gone performances just yet. So it's what I'm working on, and I'll get there eventually.
Again, what strikes me is just the variety of games. We've got some RPGs, we've got some action adventure, we've got some first person shooters. There's Dark Souls in there. There's Destroy All Humans. It's a really varied list. Doom 3, for example. Like
that was a tough plat.
That's one of the. That's a tough plat. Yeah,
like that,
and a great game.
Great game, but it's just the fact that you need to play Doom 1 and 2, like the old school ones.
Yes, yeah.
And then there's like Finish It in Nightmare
and all
mode,
the difficulties,
and then the DLC of that. That is a multifaceted platinum that anyone that's kind of played, I think you can just get Doom 3 on its own now without like the Doom 1 and 2 attached in their separate lists as well. That was, as you can say, it took me 1 year and 7 months, and that was kind of like, that I'm quite slow to finish my games like that. Like, I kind of take my time. If I'm not having fun, I just stop. But like, I think if you kind of build your list around games that like you're really excited playing, that are great, and like that's always my thing. Games first, trophy second. Like, normally I do my first playthrough just blind, just enjoy the game, soak it up, and then I get the enjoyment kind of going back and then retroactively getting the trophies, as opposed to having sometimes I do think, okay, like this might be difficult, but I think I want my profile in general just to be full up of games I really, really love, and I kind of look back on and go, oh, like that was great, or that was great. Kind of like a little.
Yeah, no, it certainly shows. Yeah. It absolutely shows. I can see there the first trophy you ever earned is so aptly off the boat on GTA 4, which is,
I like that.
It's a great first trophy.
Off the boat, yeah. I think my milestones, like the one I love is like the Elite trophy, is the Demon Souls Platinum. I think that's pretty sweet. But I feel like
that is, and
I think a lot of them are pretty crappy. A lot of skulls on them, I noticed, like Red Mist, WMD and Max Payne there. The Lost City one there in Uncharted 4, Manhunt. It's like kind of like a very gruesome looking list. Like, I'm happy that the 7,000 trophy was messed with the bull and Tony Hawk, but I think my kind of milestone ones definitely, like the Trine 2 Platinum is a milestone. Like, when it's just, of course, it's always the kind of shitty trophies that end up being like, put on a pedestal. But
some people do like really meticulously plan their milestones. I know, I wouldn't do it either. I tried to do it for my 200th platinum. I tried to get like a game I really loved as the 200th, but I haven't. I know some people try to get, for example, like their 100th platinum with their 5,000th trophy, for example. Try and line them all up. But yeah, no, I wouldn't bother myself.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too pushed. But so kind of keep scrolling.
But yeah, it's
a
serious. It's the difficulty. There's some really tough games. You got Far Cry 2 there. All the FIFAs, for example. Like, FIFAs are not easy games at all.
Yeah. Like, at this point, I'm just I think, again, to be fair, like, the stats are inflated because in all likelihood people that play FIFA aren't exactly big gamers, but
Yeah.
like
but the requirements are tough. There's always a huge online
yeah,
component, and usually the manager mode, and then the World Cup mode or whatever.
yeah,
There's a lot going
yeah.
on
Like,
there.
I think that I won't be playing another FIFA game for a while because I was all about the manager mode, um,
Yeah.
and just the onus on Ultimate Team. Like, it's reflected in the trophy list every subsequent year. Like, I was only buying FIFA every second year anyway because I'm not a complete numpty, like, but
Yes,
because
yeah,
I
you
like
can
seeing
see
a
that
bit of
there
a
as well.
change.
10, 12, 14, 16, 18.
But
It's good.
I just can't justify it. Like I just don't enjoy the Ultimate Team, and I think that they haven't built it up. I could talk about what EA have become
Yeah,
all
it's
day,
pretty predatory, at least we can
but
say.
I think they're only getting my money on, I think it was like half price every second year. But and it's a shame because I love nothing
Yeah.
more than the casual game of FIFA with friends. Like, I know I've played some kind of more extreme games, but I'm also like, I do enjoy the kind of more leisurely games. So I'll keep.
Yeah, of course, FIFA is synonymous with multiplayer couch co-op. It's pretty much the only kind of couch co-op we've got left.
I know.
Got all the GTAs, which is great to see. It's really cool that you've got them all, even the heists in GTA 5, which are no easy feat.
Yeah, they were just fun.
And San Andreas and Vice City. Vice City, I know, is a very tough 100%.
They take the cannoli. It's more a case of just a laborious one. Like, I actually one of my most popular threads I've ever posted on PSN profiles is a tip to cut that time in half. So essentially, when you start Vice City, to anyone thinking of starting it, just collect 80 hidden packages, you unlock your Sea Sparrow, and you go to the film studio on Star Island, and you just shoot repeatedly at a truck that's parked there. Okay? So what I did was I put on the fast motion cheat. Now, this was a cheat that was kind of lost to the sands of time, but I found it in an old cheat book I had from a PS2 magazine. So it's not to speed up
the perks
time.
Of being a veteran.
Yeah, it's the perks. Refer to the book, the historical parchments that are in the attic.
Yes.
And the fast motion.
I have a Dark Souls manual as well. A big giant hardback Dark Souls book. So.
Oh, I imagine us like two squires, just with the feathered pen. Yeah, so the fast motion cheat, and essentially what I did was I kind of positioned the controller in a way where, like, it was holding down the fire button, and then I went to the shop. Did my shopping, and within I think it took like an hour and a half with the fast motion cheat, maybe 2 hours, and the trophy unlocked, and then you can just play the game naturally from there, because that just messes up the shot accuracy stats, and you get the Godfather perk or the rank. It
makes it harder and harder.
It's a ridiculous trophy because there's literally no other way you can do that unless you spend about 800 hours playing the game. Like, legitimately, like, it's ridiculous. But I'm glad I got it.
It's good to know though that you can do it like that.
Yeah, it just breaks the conventional way of playing.
And I see Gree. You've started Gree.
Yes,
well.
Yeah, just started that today at the time of recording. So I've a soft spot for
very nice,
kind of side.
Hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I'm enjoying it. Just, it's artistically stunning. Like, just, it's a joy to play and to look at.
It is, yeah. It's one of those indie games I'd recommend to everyone. Hotline Miami is another fantastic indie game. I also have I've also played the two of them, and they're great fun.
Yeah, first one's better.
Tricky as well, especially the second one.
Yeah, the first one's a better balanced game. I think the second one, just the level design was just too big for the kind of game that it was. Like, you got killed off screen a lot, and it just wasn't as tight and as memorable as the original. The original was something special at the time. Like, I really thought that was fantastic. The second one is still a very very good game, but I think it just lacks that kind of rawness of the first one, and kind of it got a bit too ambitious.
too big for its
too
boots.
big for its boots.
I agree. You seem to have as well, another thing I've noticed is you seem to have like all the Sony staples. You know, there's pretty much all the first party great games, even throughout the PlayStation's life cycle, not even just the PS4, but like Jak and Daxter, for example, and you've all the infamous games. You've Bloodborne there. Days Gone is work in progress. Killzone. These are all the kind of the
big hitters.
Really the pinnacle of first parties.
Yeah, well, that's why I have a PlayStation. Ultimately, like, it's for the first party games, and like you can't deny how like the sheer quality of the first party games that Sony have been like churning out for the past 10, 15 years, 20 years. Like, it's like they're effortlessly great normally. And even a game like Days Gone that wasn't as kind of lauded as much as the other Sony first party games, it's still a very good game, particularly post patch. Not that I'm condoning fixing the game after release, but like, it's like just the quality is always there, and they're always quite varied. The first party games like Horizon was quite interesting, infamous. Like, I think like if you own a PlayStation, you kind of have to play those. It's kind of like if you own a Switch or a Nintendo console, it's like it's Zelda and Mario. It's just the old kind of reliables. Yeah,
you got all the Metal Gear Solid games. There's you've obviously nearly got that 100% completion across the board, and there's just some very, very few speckles of of 90%, 99%.
Yeah, I'll never be able to get it thanks to FIFA 10 though, and Ultimate Team. I think there's 9 trophies
10,
that I can't earn, but I'm fine with that. I got the plat, so it's not too bad. Like, the Metal Gear Platinums are probably my favorite ones that I own, because like Metal Gear Solid 3 is just my favorite game, and they're all at very like wildly different kind of attributes. Like, the trophy list, like Metal Gear Solid 3 was quite easy. It was kind of like collectibles and stuff like that. Metal Gear Solid 2 was just like you need to do all the VR missions, and it was like all the dog tags, and like I had to do like 6 or 7 playthroughs. 4 was just kind of, you needed to unlock all the emblems, so very specific conditions, and then 5 was just this open world kind of like collectathon. Like, it's odd to me that like a series that it is so varied from game to game, but the list kind of reflects that. So they're all very different experiences, like just to play, but also just to like get the platinum in.
Yeah, absolutely, hugely different games. I know Peace Walker again, completely different.
Yeah. That was great because it had co-op. I think, like, I wish MGS5 had co-op, kind of like Splinter Cell Blacklist. So keep working our way.
Splinter Cell is a game that needs to come back. It's maybe one of the only Ubisoft games I'd be excited for.
And get Michael Ironside back as well. I know he had health issues, but hopefully he'll be well enough to reprise the role of Sam Fisher just one last time.
With all the Resident Evils I can see as
I'm
well.
missing 4. I have it on the PS3. Like, I think I need to boot up the PS3 and finally get around to like playing Jak 3 and possibly Resi 4. But then again, like, I could probably hold out for the inevitable Resi 4 remake that Capcom are working on.
Yeah, I think it's been confirmed.
Yeah.
And again, we mentioned it in one of our other videos. Resi 4 is a great example of a game that doesn't have a platinum, and it's you're looking at least probably 25 30 hours.
30, yeah.
So it's not really worth it nearly to put that to load it up on the PlayStation 3 or 4, because it's you're getting so little platinum return. You may as well play it on whatever other system rather than having to rebuy it just for 12 trophies, I think.
Yeah, like, and also to finish on professional and to unlock, all the bobbleheads, and like it like there's a lot to that, to be fair. Like, it's but I'll get it at some point. I'll keep on scrolling down here. I need to do Spyro 3 anyway. I seem to have a knack for that, just playing 2 entries in a trilogy.
Yeah, Spyro ones are definitely good ones to get. Nice and kind of handy platinums. Walking Dead, you've got up to season 3, but not yet the final season.
I'm just waiting on a price drop. To be perfectly frank, I enjoyed A New Frontier. I thought it was actually surprisingly good. Like, I'm pretty invested in Clementine. I've managed to avoid all the spoilers. Again, like, story-driven games, like, I'm all about the story. I don't know if that's kind of reflected in my list, but yeah, I will get it. But I think when it's maybe 10 to 15 euro, then I'll take the plunge.
Yeah, I'm the same. I haven't even done A New Frontier yet, but I'm hoping for that price reduction. Tony Hawk, you're in the middle of that, we know.
Yes, I'm back up to level 75. So they recently patched the game, as in like 2 days ago. So they've kind of reworked the XP system. So I was grateful for that. So I was playing it yesterday and just finishing up the challenges that I'd already done before I kind of lost everything when I was rank 70, I think. So I'm past where I was when I initially lost all my progress. So just doing the remaining gaps and kind of hard get theirs, but I'll get there eventually. It's definitely not as overwhelming because you get a lot more XP per run and per win and for your highest score and stuff. So and they added like 200 new challenges or something that give like a huge amount of XP. So to anyone kind of holding off in the game, I think now is the time to kind of jump in if you're a fan of the series and if you want to get that plat. But ultimately, it's still going to require skill and a bit of time. So it's not as if they've completely nerfed it and made it like super, super easy. I think they've just made it more fair.
Yeah, I'm holding out myself.
Yeah, I think they've just made it more fair. Like I think I'm 18 hours, 19 hours into my current save file, which is my third time restarting it, by the way, people. So, like, that's not that long, to be fair. Like, to get up to 97% and to finish, like, the challenges, and it's such a great game. It's just so good. It's just joy distilled. Then we're coming to the end of the list.
You've got all the Uncharted games with all the DLC, which is definitely no easy feat.
Yeah, the PS3 trophy lists, the people who just played the remasters are lucky. The Uncharted 2 was dodgy enough, but I think I liked that the onus was kind of on like co-op and kind of like a co-op little story mode. But 3 was just like, you can see it took me 3 years and 3 months. And that was boosting, I think, like maybe every other weekend for like half an hour. Like, I know a guy in Italy, and he kind of plays games the way I do, and he hunts trophies the way I do, and he's like the nicest guy. So we just kind of just chipped away at us, like, hey man, do you fancy just doing like 20 minutes, like 2 matches? Like, yeah, grand. So we kind of got the 100% roughly around the same time. I unlocked it before him, and then I spent another, I think, 3 or 4 hours because I figured out that, like, in all likelihood it will drop. Like, it does make a point of trying to make the treasure drop that you need. And it was just like, so it was like just a relief. I don't even know if I enjoyed finally getting it, but it's kind of the way I played. Like, I still just enjoyed it because it was like a 30-minute or an hour chat with Sergio, so the game was kind of like the background to that. And I think for me that's the best way to tackle these kind of really long, really difficult kind of grindy trophies. Just take them at your own pace. If you don't have a time limit, as in online servers closing or anything like that, listen to music, just chip away, and as soon as you stop enjoying it, literally put the game down, like, and just focus on something else, and then come back to it. Like Yakuza 0 there at the bottom, that was the same. I
was going to say, I think that's like the perfect end game, because it's just, again, it's great. It's a great indicator of just the variety of games that you played, because it's so different than every other game, Yakuza. Mm-hmm. It's so different that it's a great final game with just to kind of cement your variety of your list,
Yeah, but that is a list 12 years in the making, which is just,
wow. Yeah, it's a long time. It's a long time in the works, but It's very, very impressive. What, I suppose some quick fire questions maybe. What's your plan? Have you a goal? I know you can't get that elusive 100%, but you're effectively you're there. But what's the plans for the account in the future?
To just keep playing the games. As you can see here, PS5 is kind of showing up. To kind of just keep playing the games that I enjoy. I would love to get Days Gone and to get this back to 1A, which is FIFA. So, and yeah, like my main goals now, I want to platinum Red Dead 2. I think for me that's kind of like the game that just, as it's got the collectibles, it's got like the replay single player, it's got like online. That would be the main platinum that I'm like, look, I've come this far. So I think I want to tidy it up, but I'm also thinking I want to play like 3 or 4 games that have been kind of on the back burner. So I would love to get to 150 platinums before I make the leap to PS5. Mm-hmm. It's kind of arbitrary, but I think that there's enough games on the PS4 that I haven't played, and to be fair, the PS3, that if I can kind of chip those away and get those finished, I feel like I would have the sense of finality to the current generation, and then go full force into the PS5. Like it's kind of funny, like it's like a gaming history book at this point, like just like your entire history, like as far back like was October 28th 2008. Like that's mental.
Over 12 years.
Yeah. So it's
crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of mad actually.
It is, and it's crazy to see. Your even for example, your average rarity is so low. A lot of people have rarities kind of up in the 60s and things like that, but you're down at 37, which is pretty bonkers, to be honest.
Yeah, it's kind of mad that I almost have 1,000 more uncommon trophies than common. But yeah, like I don't plan this. It's like it is a side kind of effect of just the games I play, but I just know I'm just like a dog with a bone when it's a great game and there's a trophy list in front of me. It's like, I'm gonna plat that, like plat that on the
so out of all the games that you have, what would you say is your proudest?
That's tough. I would say I'm very partial to Max Payne 3. Particularly,
that's a seriously impressive plan.
Particularly the fact that it has the onus on like multiple playthroughs. It's online.
Yeah.
It's just everything.
Yeah.
So that would probably be like my proudest, and also just the fact that like it is so rare.
Yes, yeah.
And then the DLC is like something else again. Like all these.
It's just for in case anyone isn't aware, for Max Payne 3, you're looking at the hardest difficulty, under a time limit, and you can't die for basically finishing the game in one sitting. So it's very similar to for example, Wolfenstein 2, the Mine 11 trophy, which is one of the kind of infamous ones at the minute. But Max Payne was infamously or equally as infamous back in the day.
Yeah, so that's the one there. The Shadows Rush me. So I think it took me 3 runs, and I remember at the end of the second run, and I was on a different kind of time limit because I was actually moving out of the country at the time. So I'm like, I wanted to finish all the games on my PS3 before I left, because I don't know when I'm going to be able to play games again. I managed to finish up every game on my list, and apart from FIFA 10, 2 days before I was getting on that plane, and just it was kind of like I've completed the game of life, if it was a game. So that's
a real speed run.
So I think Rockstar, just their lists are always a bit of a challenge. And it's also like achieve level
it bucked
50.
the trend of maybe the other ones.
Like level 50 in the online. Like even I forgot that I had to do that. Like that wasn't like the most forgiving online mode either.
Yes, and all the DLCs, like there's a lot to go there. Like, and if you look, like even some of the DLC trophies are down at the point, you know, at 5%, for example, and that's of people who just own the DLC. You know, it's not all the owners of the game, for example.
Yeah.
So
no, it's
you can see
crazy.
there only you're a part of a 823 people who have the 100% there, which is pretty crazy.
Legends.
Yeah, you and those 822 other legends.
Yeah.
No, I really am. I'm always so impressed with the list. You know, I would love to have some of the platinums if I could steal some. I would.
Wait, which ones would you steal if you could steal 3 plats from me? Which would you steal?
Oh, it's a good one. I definitely would have to say Max Payne 3 because I don't have it myself. I don't even have Max Payne 3 on my list, so it would be definitely one I'd steal.
Okay, let's see. Here's all the platinums.
I don't think I wouldn't steal Fight Night because you know, it wouldn't be my kind of game, and I think there's just because it is just so incredibly rare. If I stole that, I just wouldn't feel like I earned it, even though I'm stealing in this hypothetical
you'd
situation.
You'd need to fight me in the ring, I think, before I give that one up.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, you definitely need some kind of fight there. Maybe Far Cry 2 just to avoid all that heinous grind. And equally in the same vein, I'd probably steal Red Faction Guerrilla off you.
Oh, okay.
Because that is. I've done all the single player stuff on my account, but I have none of the multiplayer, and again, it's such a grind.
It is.
For that.
It really is. Like I think there's actually quite a lot of crossover between our list. Like when we look at your list, I hope the format of this is alright for people to follow, but you'll notice when we look at Dan or Ninja Vampire's list. We've actually played a lot of similar games, and I think we just go off on our own little tangents in regards to, say, like JRPGs or kind of more like indie games and stuff like that. But for the most part, like we kind of share like a central kind of taste in games. So
yeah, we both have the kind of core list. I think, you know, there's probably like a 75% crossover there that we have. It's I think, you know, probably we're drawn to the same kind of games because we like good games. You know, we try to play kind of fairly consistently just good games that we're interested in playing. So neither of us would kind of, I suppose, go out and just play a game to get the trophies, for example. I'm a little bit more guilty about that than you would be, definitely. But yeah, no, like really, thanks for walking me through the list.
No problem.
I am definitely in awe of it. It's a fantastic list, and there's I often do get inspiration for games to play when I look at what you're playing.
Oh, that's high praise. That's high praise. It's all right. I think I've enjoyed kind of getting pretty much all of these trophies, bar, you know, the obvious setbacks and the obvious grinds, but as I said before, you know, like I don't take it too seriously. Some games I fly through them, other games it takes me 5 years, like Far Cry 2. But ultimately, like if you just enjoy it, do what you do. That's just how I roll, and that's kind of 12 years.
It's a good way to be, definitely.
12 years, Dan. It's a teenager.
Look, thanks again, Nathan. Thanks for showcasing your list. I really appreciate it. I think people would be interested, just given how many rare, really super rare trophies you do have.
Yeah, they can judge me now and see how talented I am at trophies.
Well, I think that's everything we have for this video anyway. So again, thank you, Nathan, and thanks anyone who's made it this far in the video. Really appreciate it.
And next time we're going to crack open Dan's list and have a look and see what's inside. So Dad, thanks.
Shame.
Thanks, we're doing this. E.T. get a platinum. Platchums.